Hello, my loves, and welcome back to Along This Spiritual Journey. So, learn the difference between inspiration and impulsivity. Both have a purpose, both have a drive, both make you feel like you need to get it done, but one is driven by creation, co-creation, wanting to express, no attachments, just pure joy of sharing. And then the other is driven by ego, needing to feel like it has to be done, it has to be a certain way. You need to have people see you a certain way, or it has to be done this way because that's how a certain person wants it done, right? I have really had to practice this one because I am what I like to say, a hedonistic soul where I want what I want when I want it. And in my 20s, I sure did get it, but it also came with a lot of ramifications. So it really is about learning how to pay attention to what inspires you to do better, what inspires you to release energy. Because remember, everything that we do as humans, from thoughts to drawing to writing to singing, it's a release of energy. Something inside of us connected to source is just screaming at us. I need to put this out there. I need this to be heard, or I just want to be released. Will you please do that? And then the human has to decide if they are more in their ego or the impulsive side where they feel like, yeah, I want to do this. I want to try this. I want to get this done and see what happens. Or, oh my God, you want me to do something? Okay, let me go do it. Okay, I'm going to get it done right now. I'm going to go do this thing. I'm going to go figure it out. I'm going to make it all work. We're going to get it. We're going to put it out there. And then you put it out there and it's not what you want. You're not happy with the final results. So you got to go back to the drawing board. You got to keep starting over. The editing process does not go anywhere, may it be inspiration or impulsivity. But if you are editing out of a scarce mindedness where it's like, oh, I don't like this, I hate this, I don't want to do this. Trust me, I've caught myself a few times. When I started doing different books and publishing stuff and you have to edit that, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. And I'm doing this on my free days, on the weekend, when everybody is out doing stuff. I am sitting at home on a Saturday at 11 p.m. editing documents to make sure that if I put it out there, it looks right. And I would do that with no sleep. And I had to learn that that was my ego because I thought I was in a rush. I thought I had to have something done by a certain timeline. And that's me creating deadlines. The universe doesn't care about deadlines. The universe just cares if you cooperate, right? I can create something 8 years ago and don't do nothing. If I repost it on TikTok and it goes viral, now it's doing something, right? I can create absolutely nothing my entire life, right? Decide to post a video on TikTok, it blows up, right? The line that we have to remember is, may you be on this side or that side, be ready, be prepared, and know that it's coming from a place of love, not conditional love, but pure unconditional love. Because the thing that I used to do to myself was, and to this day, it was a person from my past, and it resonates in my head, where they were trying to tell me, like, you don't have to rush through life. You don't have to rush through your creations. Just let it resonate. Just let it be. Just put it out there. This whole talking about detachment and learning how to detach. How do we detach from things that mean so much to us? That's the same question you need to ask God, right? The universe created us all, and it has to detach from us. It has to know that everything that it put into us will operate the way it needs to, and all we have to do as the human is use our free will to cooperate. And cooperation is co-creation. And if we don't want to cooperate or co-create, then that becomes about the ego. Now it's out of impulsivity, where it's, I only do things that I need to do when I feel it needs to be done. Versus creation, where it's like, hey, I want to be expressed now. Do you have the time to jot me down? And if you're like, yeah, let me do that, the universe can be like, ooh, we can work with you. We can work through you because you willing to let me flow through you just like water. You ain't trying to stop me. Put it on the other side where it's like, oh, I'm supposed to do this thing. I have to do this thing because when I was a kid, this happened and this happened and this happened and this happened. So therefore, this is why I'm doing this thing. That's not about you. That's about ego. I learned that. I had to ask myself so many times, Joanne, are you doing emotion work because you had so much trauma as a kid? Absolutely, that's how it started. Absolutely, that's how it started. But what it became later on down the line when I realized that I was healed, Sharing trauma work when you're healed is a different element of creation, right? It's coming from a place of being inside of it. And when you can step outside of it and you get to really appreciate and enjoy it, you start seeing how far you've grown. You start seeing where that next journey and step is. This is why it's important to know how to inspire yourself, how to believe in yourself, and not just do it because everyone else around you is doing it. You feel this need to get married, you feel this need to buy a house, you feel this need to have a certain type of job just because everyone else has it. That's impulsivity. And even though you can be gaining traction and growing and getting to a place of knowing that I accomplished all these things, if you look back and feel like you're empty, you created out of ego. None of it was actually for you. Now, if you sit back and you create out of inspiration, you create out of pure joy, you create out of pure sadness, because remember, inspiration can be inspired by all of the emotions. But the point is that when you're expressing that emotion, you're not choosing to hold on to it after you've let it go. Writing is letting it go. Drawing is letting it go. Speaking is letting it go. In that moment, you have to be inspired to then walk into your new creation to continue to not perpetuate what you don't want to perpetuate anymore. Those things that you impulsively jumped into that you thought you had to do because it looked good versus feeling good. Because there is a level of overindulgence, but there is that sweet spot of, I'm doing this because it makes me feel good, but I also see how it can allow others to feel good. And if they receive it, beautiful, my purpose has been served. I did my duty. That's all creation is about. There's been so many times where I've been watching other people's videos, and sometimes even in my videos, I say, I hope that makes sense. And I heard other people saying, I hope this makes sense. Because when you're saying it, you don't know if it makes sense until you push playback and you hear yourself and you're like, oh my gosh, okay, I get it. Or if you can stop yourself and listen to when you're inspired by something and you're creating this huge masterpiece, you see the details of it, but until you step back and look at the whole thing, you really don't really know what you created unless you were creating from a healthy place. If you were creating from an impulsive place, then yes, you're so focused on the minutia of how this is supposed to look. And if there's any subgenre of people doing what you're doing, you're going to overly be critical of yourself and look at what they're doing to see if you're aligned with them, when really it's about being in alignment with yourself, trusting your path, trusting your journey. Doesn't matter if there's a ton of people doing what you're doing. The one thing about nature really is our greatest gift, because nature is proven to you. You can have 1 billion artists painting the same thing and it will still be beautiful to the eye of the beholder. There are so many trees paintings and nature paintings, but does that stop people from taking pictures of nature? Does that stop people from creating scenic nature pictures? No, because nature is beautiful. It's ever giving. It's a different experience for all of us. So we have to remember that inspiration is about giving back, even when we don't get to see what we're giving back and to whom. It's just sharing for knowledge's sake. Ego is sharing and expecting something back, expecting recognition, expecting validation, expecting people to agree with you, because you have put yourself in a place where you're codependent on that validation to receive somebody else's feedback to say you're on the right path, versus just trusting your creation energy. Creation energy will always take you to the path you desire, because it's allowing you to drop off all that baggage from the past that don't belong to you and create something new. This is my brand: rewrite, rebrand, rebirth. You have to remember that these are all integral parts of the human journey. We get to rewrite our script. We get to rewrite our story. We can read someone else's story, learn all the lines and participate in it, and just impulsively go through life trying to check off this list of things we really don't want to do. Or we can literally go into our energy and recognize that we're a part of the co-creation process, and we're supposed to allow ourselves to be in that space at all times. Again, it's not easy to trust, because if you don't see the benefits, and if you're in a world that's driven by, what do I get out of this? You're going to lose sight. Create because you love to, not be creating because you need to, okay? Love ya.